morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know what time it is where you are, but now it's time for more insight. This is Insight Trust because there is more where it came from. Your host, Chris Moore. Make sure you lock in with me. Make sure you follow. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. Make sure you do all those things. It helps grow the channel. And speaking of channels, I have a special guest in the building with me today. I'm joined by a Memphis native, a journalist, a producer for Action News 5, creator of the Grizzlies Daily on YouTube, a proud University of Memphis alum. He's been on the front lines covering the pulse of the city and also the Grizzlies journey both on and off the court. And we're going to talk about something special today. We're going to talk about the status. We're going to do a State of the Union address for the Memphis Grizzlies and Ja Morant. Welcome to the show, Melek Robinson. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Hey, that was a great introduction. I did not expect any of that, but I appreciate it. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Probably better than half the players on that team right now, but can't complain.
Let's start there. Why there? The Grizzlies are right now 3-6. We're coming off the loss to the Houston Rockets. I just saw your show earlier. Like you said, Kevin Durant was held in check. What's the status of the Memphis Grizzlies? We'll get into Ja, but let's get into the Memphis Grizzlies.
Right now, so kind of just scrolling through Twitter and from what I've seen from different reporters and such, right now the state of the Grizzlies is not good. It's just not an overall good look. I think, like, confidently, I think Islo may not even make it to 15 games if this goes on. It's just hard for me to think that they continue this going if the guys aren't even putting in 100% effort. I mean, I looked at a lot of those clips again from the Rockets game, and I saw way too many plays where guys were just walking on the court. And with a team like Houston, players like Amen Thompson, Ari Eason, even Kevin Durant, Shagun, I mean, you get outmatched like that, and it showed. Right now, it's not a good state in Memphis right now.
Let me ask you this. How did we get here? I know Taylor Jenkins was let go at the very end of the season. We had about 10 games with Tomas. Really didn't get the vibe of what he wanted to create with Memphis. But now we're not even 10 games into the season, and we're seeing a totally different team. What happened? How did we get here?
Man. So, obviously, you said Taylor Jenkins fired. Not on the greatest side of most of the team. Obviously, Ja and Jaren and even Desmond at the time all vouched for Taylor Jenkins. And even when Islo came in, they vouched for Islo as well. But I think what we're starting to see more of is, I think we're seeing the case of what was discussed before the season possibly not being played out. That is the only other way I could see this going, because if you listen to Media Day and all these things, all we heard was the system is great, this and that. We like the system. And for now to get to this point where the star player isn't even communicating with the coach, Jaren doesn't even want to shoot the ball. I'm seeing guys force up threes and they're getting outplayed. I'm sorry to say it, but they're getting outplayed by the rookie. That's not a good look. So honestly, I think it's just more so poor communication and poor deals being made. Like I said, I've gone on record. I'm saying I think we are placing too much blame on the people that we see and not enough blame on the front office, because a lot of those deals that were done, I didn't necessarily agree with in the first place. And now we're starting to see why. I got to be honest, understand signing Santi was a team friendly deal. I was a firm believer that he didn't really need to come back. He just did not develop. He didn't develop in a way that I see the Grizzlies in the future. ACP, I was a fan of it. I just didn't think he'd be that involved, and we're seeing that now, and we're seeing it backfire. I talked to a lot of people who are Magic fans, and they were giving me the warning signs like, KCP, he's a great veteran, but when it comes to shooting, he's not the same. He's not somebody that he's not somebody that should be on a team that's, trying. Problem to me is the fact that the person in Zach Kleinman, the GM behind all of this, he's not saying a single word. And that to me is concerning. So I think the right people aren't, the wrong people are speaking up, not enough people are speaking up, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense. I'm so glad that you mentioned his name, because while Ja is the headline, if you look in the fine print, I would say a lot of this boils down to Zach Kleinman and the moves that he's made. We can go back to let's go 2 years ago. Dylan Brooks was let go. I agree with the move. However, there's a presence that Dylan brought. Then you bring in Marcus Smart, which is fair, defensive player of the year, but injury prone, which is, I don't know, maybe it's something in the air in Memphis. Maybe it's coming from the Elon Musk building. Maybe it's something in the air over there that's causing all these injuries, because once Marcus Smart left, he goes to Washington. He's playing consistently. Then he goes to the Lakers. I'm seeing him playing consistently. And then let's go to the Desmond Bain trade. That's 20 points that's lost off your bench already, or that's 20 points that you're losing on the floor. And then couple that with Scottie Pippen, he's out. Then you look at Ty Jerome, he's out. So right now, this team isn't good, and that's because they're not whole. But then again, I put this at the feet of Zach Kleinman, because there's some players that we've had before and those players would be Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams, who I'm not seeing a lot of. Do we place it solely on Zach Kleinman? What is the fix right now?
I gotta be honest, I wouldn't place it all on one person, it being Zach Kleinman.
True.
But I'd say he deserves a good 75 to 80% of it. I mean, we talk about Dylan, but if we being real, this was dwindling from the start. I gotta be honest, I feel like a lot of the players that 21-22 season, when the Grizzlies first made that second seed, God wins MIP in close contention with Bane. I think that was a year after that Jan won Defensive Player of the Year. But a lot of what went wrong with this team is the fact that we gave up on certain players too quick. I was a firm believer, and I'm not going to say I predicted it, but I definitely, when we traded DeAnthony Melton, I instantly knew this trade was going to backfire. That he was a key piece that we absolutely needed. He was an energy guy. He was a 3-and-D guy. He was a great defender. And he pushed the fast break. You can't really get that. A lot of those highlights with Ja, you look at it, DeAnthony Melton was in a majority of them. And I think that stunted the growth for a lot of players. I mean, Zaire Williams, I wanted him to pan out, but I think when you switch up like that, it definitely does have an impact. Kyle Anderson leaving was really huge for the Grizzlies. That was something that really hurt the team as well. He, to me, was the ideal veteran. He didn't do a lot, not like, talking wise, but he stood behind the team. He stood behind his young guys, and he did what he needed to do. And Kyle Anderson, he's a vital piece. And we saw that once he went to a team like Minnesota. It just shows. It just the little things like that. Right. And obviously you got the years where you miss on the draft picks. Dady Roddy, you miss on that. You kind of rebuild from that. I think we gave up on Jake LaRavia too early, and that's not even me just saying it because he's on a hot streak right now. I genuinely think we gave up on Jake LaRavia too early. I'll be the first to admit, I thought Jake LaRavia was going to be a bust. Just seeing what I saw, I thought it was going to be a bust, but once I saw them letting him play his game and actually, expand to being a playmaker instead of just a catch and shoot guy, that's when we saw Jake LaRavia truly develop. So when we traded him, I was like, well, now ain't the time. It was definitely something that didn't make sense. I know a lot of people bring up Tyus Jones. I like Tyus, but I think what we're seeing now from Tyus, it definitely goes to show that it wasn't going to last long term. And as far as Desmond Bain,
I would say he was perfect for this city.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look outside of what he's done, it hasn't panned out. I mean, everyone said that he's a starting point guard. He became a starting point guard. Didn't pan out. He was in the right system here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really was a good thing because it was like Tyus Jones is a veteran. This is a guy who, when he played for the Grizzlies, I hadn't seen him play like that since that year in, I think, 2014 Summer League. Like that was a good time. Yeah, Tyus Jones, him not panning out in the Grizzlies leaving him early it kind of hurt a bit. Marcus Smart, that was just something. I feel like that was too much of a gamble, if I got to be honest. It was a gamble because, I mean, you look at a team like Boston, for them to give up on a guy like Marcus Smart like that means they knew something that the Grizzlies did, because they literally went on to win the championship the next year. I mean, they probably, honestly, the way Boston looked at it, they were like, okay, we got Marcus Smart and we got Derek White. Derek White does everything that Marcus Smart does, but younger. And we literally saw Derek White have one of the better playoff series that year that won the championship. And as far as the Desmond Bain deal, I'm not too upset. I wasn't too upset at the deal because I saw it and I'm like, why would we trade Desmond Bain of all people? Now, granted, I did say out of everybody in the big three, I think he was going to be the first one to get traded. I did say that. Yeah. However, you did get 4 first-round picks. Great job on that. I still think you could have got somebody else. I think the fact that you gave up on Cole Anthony, I didn't like that. I get it. You got a lot of point guards, but I didn't like that. You keep KCP around, okay, you got a veteran. But if you look at that Magic team, that Magic roster, they had talent. They genuinely had talent that you could have chose from. I mean, even if you picked up a guy like Anthony Black, I mean, even Wendell Carter, somebody.
That's who I would.
That was way too much talent for us to decide that Cole Anthony and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope were the best picks. That to me was just ridiculous. That's why I say 80% of this falls on Zach Kleinman.
Yeah.
That, along with the fact that he has had trouble retaining a staff, that also hurts too. I'm not going to say too much about the guy who's on the Heat right now because Ja didn't like that system. So I'm not going to speak too much on that. But I will say when it comes to the coaching, though, we dropped the ball not at least interviewing some people. I think going straight to Islo was the problem because had we interviewed a guy like a Mike Malone or Mike Brown or even a Tom Thibodeau, who I don't even like as a coach like that, if you interview some of those guys, you'll see, okay, maybe we need to dial back on bringing Islo in so quickly. See, now, because you throw all your chips in there and we're stuck here. I think if they had went through the process, we'd probably looking at a completely different story.
Let me do this.
Okay.
So, if you were ownership, are you looking at the package of Tomas and Zach together? Because Zach brought in Tomas last year under Taylor Jenkins. This wasn't a Taylor Jenkins hire. Is this a situation where Tomas and Zach are tied together? And do you pick Ja Morant? Which way would you go?
So, to answer your first question, absolutely. I absolutely think you tie those two together because, like you said, it wasn't a Taylor Jenkins hire. Swamas Islo is a product of Zach Kleinman. And when that product brings jeopardy to the franchise, I think that's when you really have to be concerned. So 100% agree that I think if Islo does not work out, I think we need to really have a discussion on the future of Zach Kleinman. Absolutely. Because that was a bad judgment. Absolutely bad judgment. It's altering judgment at that. So really got to have a discussion when it comes to that. And the second part, what was the second part? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember.
So even with that, let's go to the actual coaching staff. Right. We're seeing that Ja's numbers are down. I saw a stat where Ja and Jaren have only played at minimum 15 minutes together versus apart they're playing like 30 minutes apart. What is the philosophy of the coach? And even in addition to that, with Ja's numbers being down, is it because of this system? Is it because of the team? Or is it because it's no longer a parade in my city?
If I got to be honest, I think it's all the above. I mean, just being honest. Yeah. I mean, I think the idea of throwing Islo in the fire and giving him a 10-game sample size before you face one of the greatest teams we've seen on paper in OKC, that was a setup. That was absolutely a setup, and I didn't like it from the jump because that's just way too risky. I think even with us thinking that Taylor Jenkins was probably going to get fired, we all thought, okay, at this point, the end of the year. But we got bombshelled and we were put here. And I think we got caught up in the mix of seeing something different because at that point, when Islo was made interim, the main thing was, well, why isn't Zach Edey playing much? And then we see Zach Edey play much. He's getting 20 and he's getting 15 and 20. So we're like, okay, this is a breath of fresh air. We might have something here. And then you fast forward to here, and I think the system, the fact that he has the opportunity now, I think he's really holding on to a lot. I think he held on to a lot of things that he thought he could change, but because of the changes made in the offseason, it might have thrown things off a bit. Because to me, I just don't understand the idea of not playing Ja and Jaren together. And then even then, it's like, okay, if you're not going to play them together, at least you're going to let one of them be aggressive. We haven't seen that from Jaren at all. I mean, last game, Jaren had one field goal attempt in the entire second half. That to me is insane. You're paying it. A guy's getting paid $240 million and he's only being able to shoot the ball once. That is insane to me. So you got that system. I just don't know. And even then, I'm a big fan of optimism. So it's like when I see something, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give it a chance. So I looked in the Islo system, saw how he utilized the screen, saw how he worked people off ball, and I think that's just something that he's trying to carry into the Euros that just isn't working. You can't play Ja Morant off ball. You can't play Jaren in the post all the time. It's just a matter of the team that you have, and you can't do that. And another thing that really throws me off of Islo's system is the shortness of the rotation. I just don't get it. I get he's working with limited work. I mean, yeah, Edie, Clark, they're out. I get that. But I just don't understand the idea of 5 minutes into the game, Santi Aldama comes in. That to me doesn't sit right because Santi isn't even playing that well to be getting that kind of burn that early in the game. And even then, just idea of why are we not playing John Jaren?
Yeah.
I'm not knocking the idea of a Ja and Jaren pick and roll because one of the things that Jaren struggles in is setting screens. We can all agree on that. Jaren in year 8 still can't set a screen. We can agree on that point. But the fact that we are not setting up plays for the two of them, that's my concern. Because even then, all you have to do at most is make Jaren come to the free throw line. I never understood the idea of having Jaren be deep in the corner or at the low post where he could easily be double teamed. At least in the free throw line, he has more vision on the court instead of having one side completely being blocked off. That to me, I never understood. And that's what's accounting for most of Jaren's turnovers. So the fact that us as fans can pick up on that and the coach can't, that's why I think the problem is. And that's why I think we're in a situation where we are now, where Islo is not really feeling.
And it's a shame, honestly, because again, like we said before, you didn't reach out to your players to get any type of response about Tomas coming into the Grizzlies as the full-time head coach. Of course, everyone's saying, yeah, that's cool. But it's a difference when you present the idea to me versus when you just tell me what the idea is. And it's unfortunate. I want to talk about John for just a moment here. He said that he went back to I'm a wrestling fan. He went back to 1997 with Shawn Michaels when he said, I lost my smile.
Right.
Ja Morant said that he has lost his joy. Will his joy be found in spite of Tomas possibly staying? Or are we at a point where one of them has to go?
I want to say it's still a little too early to make that kind of call. And obviously, it's trending into the direction where one has to go. And I think at most, it's definitely easily. I think everybody can agree on that part. But it is a little too early for me to tell. He said we haven't even reached the 10-game mark. And this is what makes it so scary because it's like we're not even 10 games into the season. And this is something you find out maybe before the All-Star break. You know, teams don't get into a slump like this and instantly it just comes crashing down. But it's definitely something that it's not the first time we've seen it, and it won't be the last time. And I think Ja is just feeling it. I mean, a good prime example, I think it was 2015, 2016, David Blatt with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They were winning, but LeBron wasn't a fan. And guess what? LeBron is the franchise. So they packed him up. And it's just like, I really don't want it to get to that point where Zach Kleinman is put into this rational decision to where he's overthinking and he has all his chips in on Islo. That's why I think no matter what happens, Zach Kleinman deserves a great majority of the blame because this is a product of your decision. Every other team has brought in their players with coaching candidates saying, hey, how can you help me help my team win? And I think the fact that we went off assumptions, assuming that the players were communicating with Islo or that Islo was communicating with the players. We don't know what happened during the offseason. So the fact that this decision was just made so quickly with no interviews, and I still find it crazy that no interviews were made. It'd be different if Islo was like, I don't know, 8-2 in those last 10 games, and then he maybe pushed the Thunder to 6. At that point, you know what? I get it. I absolutely get it. But the fact that we didn't interview him and we're talking about a rookie coach, that was always crazy. So I think regardless, if you let Islo go or you somehow find a trade for Ja for some odd reason, I think regardless Zach Kleinman, we're seeing the last few. I think regardless, we're seeing the last few moments of Zach Kleinman. Because to me, there's no way he stays on this team.
Let me give you the next 10 games. We're looking at Dallas on Friday, OKC after that, New York after that, Boston, Cleveland, San Antonio, Sacramento, and then Dallas, and then Denver. That's from November the 7th until November 22nd. So we're going to find out a lot about this team within the next couple of weeks. As a Memphis native, as a Memphis Grizzlies fan, are you scared to lose Ja?
Absolutely. That goes without saying. I mean, we went from our biggest star being Pau Gasol to Marc Gasol to Zach Randolph, then back to Marc Gasol. Well, I mean, my bad. Hold on, I'm not doing justice. Rudy Gay, you got to get him in the mixes there. You got all these guys who everybody looks at as like, oh, they're solid for a small market team, but we never had a global star. We have this in Ja Morant, and the fact that we aren't doing what we can to help him, knowing the pull that he has, and the fact that as look, and I hate to admit it, the fact that Memphis is like not saying top of the list, but they're definitely up there when it comes to possible relocation. And that's not even just the league wanting to cater to big markets. That's just the fact that that league still ain't signed. So that's a big deal right there. So I think you have to take the opportunity, the advantage to have Ja Morant, and especially like I said, I've lived here my entire 23 years. I've seen some misses and I've seen some almost hits, but I've seen more misses than anything. I think just it's ridiculous to think that we're at this point and we're not doing what we can to help him. Now, with that being said, that is not me 100% defending John in this situation, because I've had to tell multiple people because they may not understand sports, or they may not understand how we understand it, or the average person watching this may understand it. There is like one rule in all the sports. It's the one cardinal sin is you never quit on the court, no matter what. And that is what we saw from Ja. So it's like, even with the frustration with Izalo and Kleiman, I can't look at Ja and be like, you're off the hook because you quit. You quit on your guys. You quit on the guys that look to you to get that spark. And that's something that we are seeing a product of. I mean, like I said, that Rockets game, you go back, I guarantee you, even look through the highlights, you're going to find a clip where there was a 3-on-1, a 4-on-1. I vividly remember I think there was a turnover or something. It might have been a missed shot. I'm not sure. All I know is Houston got the rebound. It's a 4-on-1. Cam Spencer's the only person sprinting back. That to me is ridiculous. And it's like Ja's on the court. So it's like, you're a reflection of these guys. They're kind of like, well, if our main guy who we rely on isn't going to do anything, then what's the point? It's over. And it got to a point where yesterday, I can't believe I uttered these words, but I literally was in my head in that third quarter thinking maybe Ja just needs to be benched for the rest of the game. Every time the Grizzlies had momentum in that game, Ja had some type of turnover or he forced a three and it killed the momentum. And to me, that right there is why I can't fully stand behind him. Like I said, love having him on the Grizzlies. Absolutely love it. I got about 2-3 Ja jerseys. Love it. But we got to hold the superstars accountable, because there's a big difference, and I tweeted this out. There's a big difference between switching up and holding accountable. Yeah. Right now, we're at the point where we're holding Ja accountable, and it's a lot going on. He's never been in this position. It's like, I understand where he's coming from. It's a lot of emotion. But at the end of the day, when you have multiple veterans telling you like, hey, you gotta pull through it, man. Ja has to wake up. I'm not saying he has to be the only person to, but he's the franchise. So it's like, when we're at this point, I think at the end of the day, we have to do what we can to keep Ja around, keep him happy, keep him satisfied, because at any given moment, I'm dreading that Bleacher Report notification saying Ja requests a trade, because that's the only way I see him getting traded. So I'm dreading that, but it starts with him. It truly does. And we just got to call a spade a spade.
I agree with you. I've lived in Memphis for 7 going on 8 years now, and I am terrified of losing Ja Morant. I'm also terrified of losing the Memphis Grizzlies. Like you said, that lease had been signed. Memphis needs the Memphis Grizzlies. They need the Grizzlies. This city takes on a whole different vibe and feel if the Grizzlies are gone. So I really hope they are able to hold on to Ja. Hope that they can get back to the grit and grind. Because right now it feels like a grit and grind to watch them, and not in a good way. Don't want to end on a bad note.
Okay.
When you look at this team, can you give me something positive that you've seen so far this season?
Yeah. I mean, I think the clear positive on this team is Cedric Coward. The fact that I'm going to say he's exceeded expectations in my book. I thought a guy coming off a torn labrum, I'm like, okay, he's going to get acclimated, but he's going to find this stride. And I'm thinking like, okay, he's going to average probably, cool 7-8 points a game off the bench. But no, he's blown those numbers out the water at an efficient rate. Now, granted, I think the last game against the Rockets was the one game where he just did not shoot good. But I think the fact that he's come in and already challenged a guy that we thought exceeded expectations last year, that to me says something. That's why I think the Grizzlies are great at drafting players. So I give it that. And obviously, there's more positives to come in the year. So I think Cedric Coward panned out very good. I like his development. I like his energy more than anything. I think the fact that he's not afraid to go in for the rebounds. I think he has the possibility to be what Dylan could have been. I think, and once he gets experience, because one thing I look at Cedric, he's quiet now, but I feel like he's definitely a talker on the court. I feel like he definitely gets to that point. So I think he has the possibility of being what Dylan could have been, especially at an efficient rate, because I think that's what a lot of people tend to forget. Like, yes, Dylan brought the energy, but I've watched this man shoot us out of playoff series. So that's why I don't feel bad about him getting traded and not brought back. So I think you can replace Dylan, and we're seeing that right now. So I like Cedric Coward's development. Other than that, I think Cam Spencer, he's doing pretty good. Obviously, he's still got some things to work on. Jock Landale, say what you want. He's been a solid replacement. I can't debate it. He's been a solid replacement. Obviously not the greatest, but he's been pretty solid. Other than that, other than that, I can't think of really too many positives because we're seeing a lot of what we saw in the second half of the last season. Too many threes, too many turnovers, not enough energy, and overall just the right people aren't getting enough minutes. So it's not too many positives, but I definitely do think if there's something that we can look back on and say, okay, the Grizzlies got right, it's Cedric Coward for sure and Jock Landale.
I agree with you. I'm not even gonna hold you. I can't wait to see what these next few games look like for the Grizzlies. I hope, they're able to turn the corner and things can start to turn around. But it's a tough time, man. It's a tough time. We're basically in a dark tunnel looking for that light. And you gave me some light, and I'm gonna keep watching, trying to watch. I'm gonna keep trying to watch.
Yeah, no, brother, I feel you. Yeah, this stretch of November, we all looked at the schedule and like, okay, this is gonna be a tough stretch. But I don't think anybody could have predicted it to get this bad. I couldn't even tell you this. So hopefully they,
like you said,
hopefully they turn around.
It's the energy that you're saying. Like, it's one thing to lose. It's another thing to lose without effort. Like, there's no effort being shown. Like you said, it starts with Ja. He quit on his brothers. He quit on his team. I'm okay with y'all quitting on the coach. I get that. But when you give up on your guys, that's a whole nother level. Yeah. And I think that's just something Ja just has to learn. Maybe he's not that type of leader, and that's okay. Every superstar is not the leader. I just hope that he's able to grow from this. Hope that he remains in Memphis.
For sure. And I know we want to end it on a positive note, but I do want to say that when it comes to Ja, it's more so, I think, you look at it as quitting on his brothers, absolutely, all that. But I think of all the games for him, for this situation to happen, it shouldn't have been the Lakers. It should not have been the Lakers. Because you don't get that effort that you got in that first half. And you don't get that often. I looked at that team and I'm like, Vince Williams Jr. just played his first game of the season and came out bald. And we wasted that. That's not. I think of all the games that could have happened, the Lakers one was probably the worst option because this is a team that we've looked at for years, and I hate to say it, the Lakers broke the Grizzlies. That is something that you couldn't got out of me years ago, but the Lakers have broken the Grizzlies, and it's just like to fast forward from it to being LeBron and Anthony Davis to Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. That's deflating. I'm sorry, that is deflating because I was defending Desmond Bain against Austin Reeves, and now I look dumb. We all look dumb. I'm just being honest. But yeah, like I said, on a positive note though, our guys are gonna be back. They're gonna be strong. They're gonna bring back that grit and grind that defines the city and the team and the franchise. Whether it's a conversation with Zach Randolph or Marc Gasol, I can't name the other guy because right now he. But you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I think all it takes is just somebody to remind them what it means to be not only a Memphis Grizzly, but just in the city of Memphis itself, we're a city full of underdogs. We are the definition of getting it out the mud. Everything that you look at in Memphis, it didn't come easy. So I think they need to understand that it's not going to come easy, but it's more so how are you going to bounce back from it? Because that's what Memphis is known for, bouncing back. Simple as that.
It sounds like they need to get Rafiki. You talking about, remember who you are. They need to look at themselves in the water.
Man, something.
Man,
yeah.
I appreciate you jumping on with me, man. Can you tell the people where they can find you, where they can keep up with you, and whatever else you have going on?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at M Robinson JRSM. That's MROBINSON JRSM. And if you aren't really on social media, I'm also on YouTube. You just look up Grizzlies Daily. We upload there daily, Monday through Friday. We do recaps, all types of news, all types of analysis. So I really appreciate y'all if y'all come over there, show some love. Yeah, that's really where you can find me. I really appreciate you, Chris, for bringing me on. I know we said we collab, so I'm glad we actually here at this point. And I really appreciate you for bringing me on the platform.
Absolutely, man. No doubt about it. I appreciate you. I'm proud of what you're doing. Good luck to you. Best of luck to you. Keep giving us these Grizzly news, and I can't wait to do an update at the end of this year because I definitely want to do a recap of the first half of the season. So we'll definitely make it happen again.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You know where to find me.
Absolutely. Thank you all for tuning in to More Insight. This insight you can trust because there is more where it came from. I'm your host, Chris Moore. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you do all those things. I told you, we're trying to grow this channel, y'all. We're almost there. We're almost there at 2,000. So help me get there. And help Melek get there as well. Because, hey, we're in this content game together, man.
Facts.
Help me, help him. And we're just trying to make it happen, y'all. So we'll holler at you.